Oh, is this stuff that Doug Phillips is doing with the homeschoolers? Or is this something different that you're talking about?
Yeah, they have a bunch of kids that bring out our family.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds cool. A DVD on it? Oh, cool. Raising the Allosaur? Okay. I'll look for that. That sounds like an interesting one to look at. Yeah. Almost, yeah, okay. Are there any other? Let's go over here, then we'll come back here.
How does the evolutionist say that fossils were created?
Oh, I've got some good overheads on that I didn't bring with me. But National Geographic is a great source to look at for all the wrong answers on how you get a fossil, especially for hominid evolution. I've got some slides that are a howler on that one. But they basically think that creatures fall dead by a river or something like that, or slowly buried by river sediments. And over time, a lengthy time, that these things slowly fossilize from river sediments.
They don't decay, they just fossilize.
No, they fossilize. Now, they do admit that the heads like to pop off the hominids. And so that's why you find so many headless hominids. Okay, I've never found a headless hominid myself, but they do admit that, and that's one of the first things that the animals like to grab, apparently, is the head. So if a hominid falls over dead, the animals will go for the head will pop off, it'll flow downstream, and you might find it downstream if at all, but you'll find headless bodies a lot. But it's river sediments, and that's what they say about Dinosaur National Monument. The story out there is all these creatures just happen to die there and get mixed up in river water and the flow of the water, and they got buried in river sediments and fossilized. Trouble is, you gotta, and I'm sure everybody here knows it, to get a bone to turn to stone, remember the bone rots away, and it's the minerals inside the water that get into all the pockets of the bone and leave an exact replica of the bone. Not the bone, but it leaves a replica of it. For that to happen, and the bone's not going to last long in a wet environment, it's got to be buried, and it's got to be in a mineral-rich area, a mineral-rich water, and it's got to fossilize very quickly if you're going to have anything left for that minerals to leach into to fill the little pockets, so you're left with a replica of anything at all. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Your turn next. I think it was your turn next. Yes.
What do you know about the scientific, so-called scientific dating methods, like carbon dating, for these periods of fossilization, dinosaurs, and also, what do you know about DNA studies that have been done on the organic material?
I can talk about carbon-14 and isotopic dating from a popular standpoint because I've read books on it. I know that Jack Horner did not do carbon-14 dating on the T-Rex with the blood. And with the creation science, he just thought it's not worth doing because the thing's 65 million years old. And if I do carbon-14 dating on it, I'm going to come back with a ridiculous result because he already knows the bones are that old. And in Kansas, they found a creature. It was a sauropod type, and I can't remember exactly what it was. I want to say Dilophosaurus, but that may not be right. And we asked them about dating on it, and they did isotopic dating on a nearby volcanic ash layer that was a little bit above the layer that they found this creature in, and they dated on that. And the graduate students there had no idea about them getting a range of dates from isotopic dating, not just one, and picking the one that fit the best, and that various samples within a particular piece of a sample of volcanic ash would even return different dates. So they had no idea about that. Whenever we've talked to evolutionists about doing it, and we tried to get some to do it when I was with the group in Kansas, they just refused, saying that why bother carbon-14 dating dinosaur bone that we know already is 65 million or 140 million or even 220 million years old. There's no point. It's a waste of money. Even when we offered to put up the money for it, they wouldn't do it. Yeah. That's all, and I can't address the DNA thing at all. I'm not an expert on that at all. In fact, biology is one of the things I like to read about least in creation studies. And chemistry, too. The reducing atmospheres and all that stuff, I kind of understand, but it drives me nuts. So.
Well, in the first most recent journal of that fantastically famous organization, Reasons Not to Believe, there's an article about dating 3,000 years to 3,000 years. And read the article and you can see how indefinite so-called scientific method can be.
Well, isotopic dating is a farce. I did have one professor of geology at Kansas University told me the only reason that he does isotopic dating is because when he gets a grant from the feds, it requires isotopic dating as part of the research. The grant actually requires him to do that. So otherwise, he and his colleagues consider isotopic dating to be a farce, and they don't rely on it at all. He said he relies on relative dating, not the absolute dating stuff. So again, you get back to that circular system that everybody here is well familiar with, right? Yes?
First, a comment. Carbon-14 was not discovered until 1948. The half-life of carbon-14 is 589 years. 5,000. So we have been less than 1/10 of the half-life of a carbon-14 isotope. I don't know of any scientist who could plot a curve based upon data associated with 1/10 of it. We have absolutely no idea how it goes from there. But my question was, since there are so many fossils of dinosaurs and ponies and dogs and other creatures, why are there not many fossils of humans?
Oh, but there are. The museums are full of them, absolutely packed. If you could get into the basement of your typical museum, they would be so loaded with hominid and hominoid fossils and human and verifiable human bones that would boggle the imagination. There are literally hundreds of thousands of those things out there. The trouble is they find an awful lot that conflicts with the evolutionary progression of Australopithecus afarensis and its pre-hominoids up through us today, and so they just bury it all. It's literally buried. Someday I'll have to show you the teaspoonocene illustration on how they do bones for hominids. It's a riot. I love it. But yeah, there's lots of them. There's a lot more of those than there are dinosaur bones.